you say the date and stuff.
Okay, good evening, and welcome to the Monday, December 5th, 2016 meeting of the North Kingstown School Committee. This is our biennial organizational meeting. So we'll start with
Pledge of Allegiance.
roll call or Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge of Allegiance first.
We'll start if everyone can stand, and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Madam Clerk, can we call the roll, please?
Mr. Blasberg?
Here.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Mrs. McGovern? Ms. Stevens?
Here.
Ms. Schott?
Here.
And Mr. Lawless.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next order of business is 2A, election of officers. Before we do that real quick, since Ms. Avanzato and Ms. Clarkin were not present at the town hall for the formal swearing in of the new members, I would just like to take a minute and publicly thank them here for their service. Linda served 8 years on the school committee, which is through a lot of interesting times on the school committee. And Ms. Clarkin served 4 years, but not only that, got thrown in to be partially through as the chair of the school committee, which is no easy task, which one of you will have here shortly. So on behalf of the school committee, I'd like to thank both of them for their devotion, their time, and their dedication to the education of our students in North Kingstown.
Hear, hear.
Okay, so item 2A, at this time I'll entertain any motion for chairperson. I will start. I will take thing. I nominate Gregory Blasberg to be chair of the North Kingstown School Committee. Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Can we have a vote, please? Can we have a roll call vote, please? See you.
Mr. Blasberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Stevens?
Aye.
Okay, so for the 1 minute, I transfer this over. So,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you, I think.
Let's make it official. Okay. Get that back.
Okay, so thank you very much. Our next item is a election of our vice chairperson, and I'd entertain a motion for that. And I will make one. I move that Mr. Robert Jones be the vice chairperson of the North Kingstown School Committee. If I could have a second.
I second.
Any discussion? Okay, I'll do a roll call vote again, if we could, please. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Blasberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Hoskins?
Aye.
Mr. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Stevens?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. And don't be absent.
Okay, so the next order of business are the school committee maintains a number of subcommittees and liaison positions. Actually, I'll switch that back because that has my notes on it. As you know from the Open Meetings Act, we aren't able to have these discussions prior to, which leads to a slightly give and take part of this meeting while we figure out who is going to serve in those various capacities. With respect to facilities, Mrs. McGovern has always served in that position in the past. She's an engineer, which works very well with the position, and I would recommend and I believe she'd be willing to accept that she maintain that spot. I also served in that position before. I don't know if anyone else particularly wants that. If not, I take that as well. So if I could have a motion to appoint myself and Mrs. McGovern to the Facilities Management and Planning Subcommittee.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those, well, any discussion? All those in favor? Yeah, it was,
Oh, no, I was just going to say, it doesn't preclude any other person from attending as a member of the audience. So it's not
Correct.
a quorum if you attend in the audience.
So all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that passes. Next is the Policy Subcommittee. I had served on that in the past, just from tangentially, I think Mr. Jones might have been interested in that. I don't know if either of you particularly wanted to, or you.
Well, I'll just make the comment that and I hope that this committee operates the same way the last one did, which was towards the end, which was really anyone who has a policy issue, really any two people who, have a strong policy thing, coordinate with the superintendent and sort of run with it. So we sort of maybe have a subcommittee designated, but really any two members can work with the superintendent on a policy issue to sort of prevent backlogs on policy issues. So we may appoint people, but I would say it's sort of a very fluid structure.
So, Mr. Jones, did you want that?
So I will nominate Mr. Blasbog and Mr. Jones to be policy subcommittee members.
Do you have a
Mr.
second?
Jones, can you repeat that, please?
So it was to nominate Mr. Jones and myself to serve on the Policy Subcommittee. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next is the Wellness Subcommittee. Anyone have interest? It's a statutorily required subcommittee we have to have. And do you know how often they meet? I actually don't know.
We meet about every 6 weeks.
Okay, about every 6 weeks.
Is it during the day or at night?
Generally, it's 3:30 to 4 o'clock.
And, I mean, we have to have members on it. We all recognize, I mean, I've been on the Facilities Committee. There are a lot of meetings that I cannot make. We know that happens. We're, not going to be screaming at you for missing meetings here and there, so we have to fill the spots. So if we could get a volunteer, it would be great. Okay, Ms. Hoskins. Do we usually have one or two? Do you know?
It's been one.
One,
It was
okay.
Mrs. Amanzado.
Okay. So, if I could, well, I'll make the motion. So I'd move that Ms. Hoskins be our Wellness Subcommittee representative.
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
School committee liaisons. One that's not on here, but we've always had before, was a liaison with the town council. Mr. Jones had served in that capacity in the past, and I think that would be well to continue if folks agree and you agree. And I think that's more of an informal than a
Yes.
formal
Yes.
type thing. But just for the sake of clarity, so I'd make the motion that Mr. Jones, you continue in that position. If I could get a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then CLAC Subcommittee, another very important statutorily required subcommittee.
I've already told them I would do it.
Okay, so Ms. Hoskins, and we usually have one or two, do you know?
One.
One, okay. Okay, and so Ms. Stevens, that leaves you without any at the moment. Is there anyone that you wanted to be?
I had an interest in the policy.
You did? Okay. Well, let's start where we're at. So Ms. Hoskins, I'll make the motion to appoint Ms. Hoskins to the CLAC Subcommittee.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
I guess we could back up.
Well, I see no...
We can't ever have three on the same subcommittee because that's a quorum issue.
Well, it's a quorum if they meet.
You can't have three. You can't have a rolling quorum.
Right.
So that's what we'll do. So if we can back up and rewind for a minute. As the chairperson, I can, be sort of an ex officio type person on any subcommittee anyway. So let's unwind the first one. As I mentioned, this was kind of fluid because we don't get to talk about these things in advance.
It sounds like I'll make a motion to amend.
Yeah, so we'll make a motion to amend our previous motion. I think we have to re-vote.
Why don't you just let her withdraw the motion in the
All right,
second.
so with unanimous consent, we'll withdraw our original motion on item 3A unless anyone objects.
3A or
Everything
3B? I thought it
agrees.
was it policy?
Oh, sorry, 3B. My
3B.
apologies. 3B, Policy Subcommittee. And we will say, instead of what we did, we will do Ms. Stevens and Mr. Jones as our Policy Subcommittee representatives. So I'll make that motion. We could have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's much better. Okay. So having done that, we have our consent agenda. Just for the new members, I know you've at least been to and watched meetings. What we do is we have the opportunity to exempt certain items from the agenda. We approve everything that's not exempted as a whole, and then we talk about the individual items separately. So one thing I'm going to do, because I know a number of people weren't there, is exempt item B1, which is the business meeting minute approval of our November 15th, 2016 meeting. Anything else anyone would like to exempt for special discussion? Okay, hearing none, if I could have a motion to approve the non-exempted consent agenda items.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Next is item B1, which is the business meeting approval. I had a quick conversation with our legal counsel to confirm a Robert's Rules point, which is that as long as we have a quorum and we have a majority of members who vote in the affirmative, a motion will pass. I'm the only person who was at this meeting due to the quirk of the turnover and everything. So if you folks abstain and I vote yes, it will still pass. So that's the way we should handle that. So did we get a motion and a second to approve it?
I'll make a motion to approve B1.
Okay. And if I could have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? So hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Abstain?
And 3 abstentions, but the motion carries. Now, Madam Clerk, I believe from prior experience, your software is going to kind of choke on that. You may need to check. I think we had that problem once. So double check when you do it in the computer, because it might not register right. So that is that. Just quickly, I know Dr. Ajay had wanted to make a mention or two that I forgot, or did you already do that?
I appreciate that. I didn't realize that we didn't have any presentations on tonight's list, and I just wanted to do 2 things. One, congratulate Mr. Powell and the robotics team. You know, we have a great engineering robotics program in the district. This year for the state...
Our legal counsel saying we can't do anything because it's not on the agenda.
You don't have it on the agenda. There's absolutely nothing for you to talk on the agenda. So you don't even have public comments, do you?
No. We have a report section.
Well, congratulations to the robotics team.
Sorry.
And if I can just make a plug, there is a business career and tech open house on Wednesday, and I hope everyone watching tonight's program will come out to it because it's going to be wonderful. Thank you.
So my apologies, because it's a special, more ceremonial meeting. It's
Sorry
not the
about that.
usual agenda.
Okay.
A couple very important items are on here, really housekeeping that come every 2 years with respect to our biennial meeting. So I need a very specific motion, so I am going to read it out loud, and I'll make the motion to keep it simple. So I'm going to make a motion to authorize the superintendent, Dr. Phil Auger, and the director of administrative services, Mary King, to sign all documents, including special funds, and Steve Janelle, controller, to sign bills, purchase orders, vouchers, and warrants. To sign all, do I have to read the whole thing, or, yeah, okay. Sign all official documents of the North Kingstown School Department, including but not limited to checks, drafts, savings withdrawals, vouchers, bills, orders for payment of money, and to endorse all checks and make deposits for the school department, and to file all necessary reports for the North Kingstown School Department. Serve as purchasing agents for the school department, and to serve as authorized representatives in the filing of federal and or state applications for approving of funding of school department programs, subject to school committee approval. If I could have a second to that motion.
A second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And next is our appointment of our school committee clerk. I found Ms. Healy has served in that capacity most superbly, so I will make a motion that she continue in that capacity. If I could have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. In your packets, you received our school committee meeting calendar, as well as a reminder and refresher on the open meetings law. It's extremely important if you could make sure you look at those, as well as the statutory requirements of the powers and duties of the school committee for the office to which you are continuing and to which our new members are joining us. So at this point, I would like to ask for a motion for us to recess our open session and convene a brief executive session for the purposes of legal advice and litigation pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 4246A2.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are recessed to executive session.